Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling one of the biggest, most fundamental drives in all of nature, how life makes more of itself. Yep, we're talking about reproduction. It's the ultimate blueprint for continuing life's story, whether you're a single cell or, well, us. So let's just jump right in with the big one, the question that really drives all of biology. How does life actually make more life? From a tiny bacterium all the way up to us, every living thing has its own strategy, its own answer to this question. It turns out life really has two main game plans. First, there's asexual reproduction. You can think of this as nature's perfect photocopier. It's super fast, super efficient, and the offspring is an identical clone of the parent. Then you've got sexual reproduction, which is the complete opposite. It's all about mixing and matching genes from two parents to create someone totally new and unique. So here's what we've got on tap. We're going to start with those two big blueprints. Then we'll zoom right into the human body and see how it gets ready for all this. After that, we'll follow the incredible journey of a single cell becoming, well, more. And finally, we'll touch on the really practical stuff: health, choice, and managing fertility. All right, let's kick things off with that first strategy, asexual reproduction. This is basically the world of solo parenting. Organisms that use this method don't need a partner at all. It's a game plan that's all about speed and keeping things simple. So how exactly do they pull this off? Well, there are a few cool ways. You've got fission, which is the simplest. A bacterium just splits right down the middle. Easy. Then there's budding, where a new organism literally just grows off the side of the parent, kind of like a little yeast cell. Fragmentation is also wild. An organism can break into pieces, and boom, each piece grows into a whole new one. And you've probably seen vegetative propagation in action with strawberry plants, sending out those little runners to start a new plant. Okay, this right here gets to the heart of one of the biggest trade-offs in all of evolution. Asexual reproduction is no doubt super efficient. I mean, if you're perfectly adapted to your environment, why change a thing? Just make perfect copies. But here's the catch. That means everyone is the same. So one new disease could wipe out the entire population. On the flip side, sexual reproduction is all about creating that genetic variety. It's slower, it takes more energy, but that variety, that's the raw material for evolution. It's what gives a species the ability to adapt and survive when things change. So let's shift gears now from the big picture strategies and zoom right in on us, on the human model. And that journey really kicks off with puberty. It's this amazing biological switch where the body starts getting all the complex machinery ready for reproduction. During puberty, it's all about hormones. They act like these little messengers, setting off a whole cascade of changes. In males, it's testosterone that takes the lead, causing things like a deeper voice and, crucially, the start of sperm production. For females, estrogen is running the show. It leads to changes like broadening hips and the start of the menstrual cycle, which is the big signal that the body is ready to release eggs. And, this is so much more than just biology. It's a really personal and sometimes tough psychological journey. This quote here really nails it. The timing is different for everyone. There is no one normal timeline. Feeling like you're early or late is a super common thing, and all that variation can have a big impact on your body image and self-esteem as you figure things out. Okay, so the reproductive system is officially online. Now we can get into the nitty-gritty of the monthly cycle that prepares the female body for a potential pregnancy. And this isn't just one single event. It's this incredibly precise, synchronized dance of hormones and physical changes. This timeline lays out that hormonal dance perfectly. It all starts with a hormone called FSH, that's follicle-stimulating hormone. It basically tells the ovaries, hey, time to get an egg ready. As the egg's follicle grows, it pumps out estrogen. Estrogen does two jobs. It builds up the lining of the uterus, and when it gets high enough, it triggers a huge surge of another hormone, LH. And that LH surge is the green light for ovulation. The egg is released. After that, another hormone, progesterone, takes over to keep the uterus ready just in case. So what happens if that egg isn't traveling alone? If it meets a sperm, that's it. Fertilization. A brand new single cell called a zygote is formed, holding the complete genetic blueprint for a new person. And right away, it starts on this incredible journey to the uterus, dividing over and over again. By the time it gets there, it's this tiny ball of cells, and its next big move is to implant itself into that cozy uterine wall to start growing. And we have specific names for these stages. From the moment it implants until about week 8, we call it an embryo. This is a super busy time. All the major organs are being formed, the heart, the brain, you name it. Then, after week 8, the name changes to fetus. The job now isn't about building new parts, but about growing and maturing everything that's already there, all the way until birth. Understanding how all this incredible biological machinery works is one thing, but the next step is actually using that knowledge to make smart, informed choices about your own health and future. And that brings us to contraception and preventing sexually transmitted infections. Now, this chart is fascinating because it shows typical use effectiveness. That's not a lab number. That's real-world results, including, human error. So you can see why something like the implant is way up there at 99%. You don't have to remember to do anything. Compare that to the pill, which is still very effective, but its typical use rate is a bit lower because you have to remember to take it every day. Condoms are lower still, reflecting the fact that they have to be used correctly every single time. And these methods really fall into a few main buckets. You've got natural methods, which are all about tracking your cycle. Then there are barrier methods, pretty self-explanatory. They create a physical block. Hormonal methods work by tweaking the body's own cycle to prevent ovulation. And then you have longer-term options like IUDs, which work inside the uterus, and of course, permanent surgical methods like a vasectomy or tubal ligation. But sexual health isn't just about pregnancy. We also have to talk about sexually transmitted infections, or STIs. This is a huge deal. Some, like chlamydia, are caused by bacteria and can be cured, but you have to catch them early. If you don't, they can cause some really serious long-term damage, like infertility. And then there are viruses like HIV, which are a whole different ballgame, attacking the body's immune system itself. So this really brings us to the bottom line on prevention. Look, a lot of STIs are treatable, but preventing them in the first place is always the better strategy. And this is where barrier methods like condoms are really unique because they do double duty. They're effective for preventing both pregnancy and the spread of most STIs. And that brings us full circle, right back to the big picture. When you think about it, from a single bacterium just splitting in two, to the incredibly complex hormonal ballet of the human reproductive cycle, life has come up with this massive, diverse toolkit. And that diversity tells us something really profound about survival itself. There isn't one best way to do it. There's only what works, what gets that blueprint for life passed on to the next generation.